Welcome to Piggy Power, and on this episode we show you how to change a wishbone or suspension front lower arm on Peugeot 206. Okay, so we're back on the Peugeot 206. There's a nice playlist there if you want to go and have a little look. We need to do a couple of these. These are wishbones, sort of because of the shape. Not really, but they've kind of been dubbed that name. Whatever you call them, it's this little thing here. On the 206, it holds the ball joint. And it's not like a simple bolt-on, bolt-off job. Both ball joints got a little bit of play for the MOT. We need to get them sorted, and it should stop the knock as well, which I've been trying to chase for some time. They're pretty simple, effectively just 3 bolts once you've got the wheel off, but they can be a little bit of a pain trying to slide these in and get them out, and the bolts a bit weird and stuff, so let's show you how to get through that. Now I'm going to presume now that you're going to jack the vehicle up, take the wheel off and secure it on an axle stand to make sure you can work on it. I'm now going to show you all the things you might need. Wow. Alright, so what are you going to need for this job? Well, WD-40 is kind of always a good thing to have. I would suggest you have a little pot for the few bolts you're going to need. You're going to need either a 17 or a 19 to take your wheels off. I presume you've kind of done that already. Some grips are really handy. I'm going to show you why. Torque sockets set, possibly 2. Very little people I notice own those, and it's really awkward to get to on this, so a pair of grips is going to be handy. You're going to need a 16mm and a 17mm, preferably a 16mm deep for the ball joint, 17mm to hold the other side of the ball joint. Had something else I needed here. Where's that gone? You're going to need a hammer. Hammer! Possibly a ball joint splitter. They do kind of ruin ball joints. Doesn't really matter in this case if you're replacing it. You know what, some punches. This one's more of a splitter type punch, like a chisel, but a blunt one. And this is a punch to get our bolts out. 21mm socket for the bolt to hold the ball joint in. Ratchet to move stuff around with. Good sized lever. Bit of grease for after wouldn't hurt. A cheat gun, that's going to be useful. And very critically, you're going to need a huge bar. Yeah, because especially if you're on your own here, trying to drop that bottom ball joint can be a real pain on the 206. So let's show you how you're going to use all this, along with the new wishbone, to replace it. Okay, so basically there's our wishbone. Goes across there and here. Here's our ball joint, and there's 2 bolts that run from top down through the subframe and hold that in. If we can see on camera, you notice there's a Torx on the top and it's a 21 underneath. First thing we're going to do is get this ball joint moving. So if you can notice, that's a nice long bolt through there, and it's got a 16mm one side on the nut, and the bolt itself is 17. You should be able to just buzz the 16 off, hold the 17 in place with a spanner if necessary, and then, because it has a nice punching end, you can just punch it with a hammer to knock it through, which is exactly what we're going to do now. So there's our ball joint up here. It's a 16mm nut, 17mm bolt, so use a 16mm deep socket on that side, and a 17mm spanner on the other. I'm going to use a gun just to buzz it off, but just be cautious. You don't damage any of the threads here because you're reusing this, but there is an end here on some of the bolts, on the 206 there is, so you can punch it with a hammer. If not, use a punch on the centre so you don't damage the threads as you knock it out. So that's what we're going to do now. A little spray just to help things. $16mm on the cheat gun, and a 17mm on the other side just to hold it. Three, 2, 1, boys! There we go. Our nut goes in our pot, and then just tap it through. Punch. There we go. Right. Now to drop the ball joint down, we're going to use the little splitter in the back of it. It looks like this. Then we're going to punch that into the back, like that. You can turn the steering wheel for this, or you can turn the hub yourself. Let me show you this. So now there we're going to get that punch in there, which is like a flat chisel punch. And we're going to just open the jaws of that ball joint up, okay? Now this will help release the hub tension on the ball joint pin. Hey. The alternative, you could just use a lever and put it in there and pull on the lever. Right, that's good. Now we get our big lever bar and we're going to put it in across there and lever down. It helps to push in on the hub a little bit at this point. Be cautious on the other side when you're moving the hub. This has got a centre bearing on the drive shaft that goes along through here. The other one doesn't, and if you pull too hard it'll pull it out of the gearbox and the gearbox will go. Right. So lever bar across the wishbone underneath the subframe. Lever down. There we go. She pops out. I know a lot of people do struggle with those, but this method never seems to fail for me. I know on the non-sport models the suspension's a bit longer and they can struggle a little bit more. I like to take this shield off at the moment. This is a heat shield for this from the disc, from the temperature. You do need to put that on your new one, otherwise you'll melt your ball joint. But just take it off now so you don't damage it. Okay. Now we're going to, important bit here, we're going to keep this ball joint in front of the hub here, not behind it, and that's for removal later. Just be cautious you don't damage your CV boot. Here is quite sensitive, and the little ABS ring in there as well. Just be cautious of those things. So there's your Torx at the top, TRX, and underneath is 21mm. Now you find as soon as you undo the 21mm, this will start spinning. Now you can just about get a socket and a ratchet on there. That one behind the shaft there, which you can't really even see, just is behind there, just in the middle of the screen. It's really tricky to get to, even more difficult. So you might not like this, but my trick is to use grips. Just put grips just to hold it. We're not really doing it up with them. You're doing it up with the nut on the other end. This is just to hold the bolt from spinning. So that's what I'm about to do. Alright, so the tools I've got ready is my 21mm socket. I have got it on a gun. You're going to need a big bar for this one. And I've got my grips. So I'm just going to get my grips. I'm not trying to damage the Torx, just want to try and hold it. So the grips go on and they get pinched. Let's just get you in focus down there. There we go. So they're just pinched onto there like that. You're not undoing it with that, you're just going to stop it spinning. And then the gun's set to undo. I'm going to get it on nice and tight. I'm going to hold it on there. Just hold that steady and give it a good whack. Brap brap. There we go. Be aware that there is a washer that comes with that and a nut. So we'll put those in our tub. There we go. You can take the grips off. And there's our bolt. And you might be fortunate enough it's loose enough just to pull it out. It's a bit tight at the top down there. There it is, and there's our bolt. Again, we'll put that in our tub. Now the one by the drive shaft, a little bit trickier. So our nut and nut's in the same place underneath. I'll show you in a second where that is. Let's get some light in here so you can see that. So there is the top of our bolt. Now you'll notice drive shaft's kind of in the way. There's a bit of a design flaw in my opinion for this. So centre screen, you can just see it in there. Right, sort of. Now I know I mentioned earlier about this hub and the ball joint hole being behind the ball joint. For removal, that's true. For getting that nut out and that bolt out, you need the drive shaft to the front of the vehicle as much as possible. So turn your steering a little bit. You might need to put that lever on the bar. Sorry, the lever on the wishbone. To drop the wishbone out the way so you can bring the hub as far forward on the car as possible. That's the same for both sides. So I retract that previous statement. You do need to do that later, not right now. Okay. So bring the hub as far forward as it will go. And now you can see we've opened up a gap in that position. So you can see we've opened up a gap here now where that bolt will come up. So we're going to do the same thing with the grips. Slide underneath the drive shaft and just grab onto them like that. Get your 21mm socket underneath. Yeah, 21mm socket. Just show you the whole show. There we go. Right, set to kill. There we go. Again, don't forget the washer. The nut will be hot if you've used a gun. Release the bolt, and you've got to take the bolt out. Now this is where I like to use a little bit of WD or similar to spray the boot of the drive shaft. This just gives the drive shaft that little bit more chance to not get nicked or damaged as you knock the bolt up. There we go, onto the under tray. So I've just used a punch and my hammer for that. You might note that I've now moved the hub back behind, so where the hub, the ball joint goes into the hub is behind the ball joint now, to the rear of it, because this whole assembly, this wishbone has to come out from this gap, slides out. So let's just zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see what's going to be going on here. Now, at the back of the wishbone, back here, we're going to get the lever. I'm just going to squeeze it forwards. That. And then we're going to pull on the wishbone a little bit at the front. Takes a little bit of manoeuvring, a little bit of pushing here, a little bit of pulling here. Push and pull. Because it is pretty tight in the subframe. Pull your hub back. There we go. And once you get to that stage, you just got to keep wiggling. Wiggling and pulling. Wiggling and pulling. Wiggling and pulling. Wiggle and pull my wishbone out. Yeah. Wiggling and pulling. Yeah. Helps to have a second guy to pull the hub out of the way a little bit for you. There she is. She's out. The slightly loose ball joint. The new one is going to go in similarly. I like to put a little shield on now. It might just protect that boot as you're wiggling it in. And a little bit of copper slip goes over that ball joint stub. I also put a little bit of copper slip just over the joint tops and bottoms, only a little tiny bit. It's just going to help me slide the bubby in. You're going to need a hammer handy and have your 2 bolts handy so that as soon as you get this front one in line, you can drop said bolt in. So, goes in the way it came out. Now sometimes they just sort of fall in, which is rather nice, and other times they refuse. So we've got the rear bush wiggled in, and then just keep wiggling in until this is lined up, basically. So the ball joint is behind the hub, and then we're going to get this front bush lined up first. Lots of wiggling going on to get it in the position I want it. Now, when that's lined up, I'm going to get my bolt and I'm going to drop it straight through that front bush. This is a bit tricky. You've got to push the hub forwards with your left hand, or right, depending on which side you're doing. And wiggle that bolt until she goes in. It's not easy. You better get a sweat on, I promise, even in the winter. Push the hub forwards, give that bolt a wiggle, and she should just drop in. There we go. Okay, now just so that we don't have any accidents, I'm going to nip my nut and my bolt, and I'm going to wind it on the bottom. like that, just finger tight. You won't go all at the thread. And then the rear bush. So there's the gap where the rear bush should be. I've got my bolt ready. Okay. So we're going to return to getting the hub behind the ball joint. Like so. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull where the ball joint is to help swing that bush into place effectively. What can help is our little lever here. So we're going to use the lever to help pull the wishbone into place, little bit by little bit. You're lifting up and pulling at the same time. There's a lot of tension on this at this point, just to warn you. So don't be putting your fingers in there. It does have to be absolutely perfect to get that bolt in. Right, I think she's so close. Right, back in the room, my head's in the way, no doubt, as usual. It's not quite there. Now the other side, funny enough, I did the other side before I did this one. She went straight in. She didn't even complain. Like I said, they do need to be absolutely bob on. Alright, the last little leverage to wiggle her in. There we go. Let's just check. There that. I'm just giving the wishbone a tap. Just to get the last bit of the bolt in. The other side was surprisingly simple actually. There we go, finally she's in. No doubt you'll not have as much trouble as I will about that. I would say without doing the video and talking you through it, takes me no more than an hour with breaks and not really trying too quickly. Amateur, you're looking at 2. Just to give yourself time from getting your tools out the shed to actually put them away. 2 hours. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get my grips and I'm going to grip on, grip on and grip off. Swing you over to my side. Hey baby, there you are. You can't really see much in the dark, but hoping you can see enough to give it a try. So gripping my grips, wrapping my wraps. Do that up nice and tight. It is a big bolt, it will take the punishment. Now if you're being really picky, you nip them up, jack the car up onto its weight, so you put the weight bar underneath the hub, and then you do the final pinching, but they should be around a little 206, it's not a race car. Ooh, my braided lines need a little bit of love, don't they? So much for lifetime braided lines. Right, just grippy grippy, buzzy buzzy. Three wraps. Take your grips off. Right, now it's a simple case. Ha ha ha, simple. Oh, he laughs in the face of danger and adversity and misfortune. I'm going to turn the hub a little bit. We are going to shove our stick in. Hopefully you can all still see there, baby. Oh dear, we're about to run out of battery. Stick in, push down, don't break your hand off, don't cover the camera, and bring the hub into place. Right, let's put a new battery in. Balls. You can hear me, you can see me. Let's do this. So, I'm levering the arm down a little bit. And then at the same time, bring my hub forwards to line up. You might have to get the stick out. I know the hub's still sat on top of the ball joint. We're just going to push the ball joint into place by manoeuvring the hub. Give it a little wiggle. It might want a little bit of encouragement, be gentle. Just square the hub up, sometimes helps. There we go, we're just going to line up our little heat shield again. Now you're going to look through that hole and there's a little cutout, a little slot. Looks a bit like that. And that is where your ball joint bolt is going. I've put a little bit of copper grease on it because I like it like that. I'm going to have a look through the hole like this. Look like this. Look at the camera, not at the screen. So I'm looking through here. I'll line it up till I'm happy. Train goes by. It's all about trains, planes and automobiles today. And then we're just going to give it a little smack home. I'm going to use my little cheat gun to wind it in, but I'm going to finish this off with the ratchet because you can easily spin the threads on these. Ratchet, 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 where you gonna get your ratchet? And we keep an eye on this bolt so that it doesn't spin. There we go. It's not holding the hub on, it's just pinching on the ball joint. There we go. So if you haven't at this point, you've only pinched them up, you now jack up on this point here to level the wishbone and re-torque up those two bottom nuts on the big bolts over there. I'll put along here somewhere the torque setting for that and the torque setting for that if you're really interested. So thanks for watching, Piggy Power. Zoom out, include my face. Hello, this is me, I'm Piggy. Thanks for watching. Please comment, query and question down below. Please like it, subscribe and check out Facebook and Instagram. Appreciate it. Thanks.